The fates of the other members of the Gaddafi family are not certain. The former leader's wife, his only daughter and two sons are missing. It's thought they might be in hiding somewhere in Algeria, and a man, another son, Saif Gaddafi, is reportedly in custody in Libya awaiting trial. Well, if you just joined us, 5:15 here is now here in Moscow. The main news is that we're covering from Libya today over the last few hours. A court there has sentenced Saif Gaddafi, as son of the country's deposed leader, to death by firing squad. 8 other top officials from the former regime were also convicted, and they face execution too. Saif Gaddafi was found guilty of war crimes during the 2011 uprising. There's been reaction, of course. Human rights groups are already dismissing the trial, citing various breaches of legal procedures and abuse of defendants. The internationally recognised Libyan government has also called the trial illegal. Well, let's talk about this next and talk about the verdict and the legality of it or not. We're joined, I'm pleased to say, by one of Saif Gaddafi's lawyers, John Jones. John, it's a very sad day for you to hear the verdict that's come through today. First of all, as you see it, as a legal man yourself, so closely involved here, is this verdict actually lawful, given the circumstances that it's been carried out in?
No, not at all. I mean, I share the view entirely that you've just expressed. That this was a show trial from start to finish. It's a trial which, as you said, the Minister of Justice of Libya himself has said is unlawful, is illegal. It's a trial which has been run by a militia, by Libya Dawn militia, who control the detention centre. And it's shown, the trial itself has shown the absolute refusal to accord any fair trial protections, any due process protections for the defendants. So no, a totally illegitimate process tainted by many abuses, including torture of the detainees.
But given everything you've said there, is it kind of irrelevant? Will that save Saif Gaddafi's neck, so to speak, or not? And I gather there is one more layer for it to go through at a higher court, yeah?
Yeah, I believe there is an appeal, but as to whether the appeal will be anything other than the show appeal after a show trial, I very much doubt. But for Saif Gaddafi, it's important to know that he's not in the hands of the Tripoli militia. He's in Zintan, which is some 100 miles or more away. And so, very fortunately for him, he's held by a group who do not recognise Tripoli either, who don't recognise that trial as having any legitimacy. And so
there's not even a danger he could be handed over at a price, then?
No, I don't see that. One would have to be a close watcher of Libyan politics to assess whether there's any risk of that. But from everything I've seen, Zintan is entirely opposed to Tripoli. And indeed, during the trial, Zintan refused to deliver Saif Gaddafi to Tripoli. And so there was a video link set up. And after the first couple of links, the people in Zintan put up a sign saying, "We do not recognise this. This is an illegitimate trial." So since they don't recognise it, I don't see a risk that they'll deliver him.
What kind of
so for him,
I was going to say, what kind of message do you think the people controlling Tripoli that have held this trial, passed this sentence, what kind of message are they trying to send out, do you think, to the rest of the world?
Well, I'm not sure if they're trying to send out a message or whether it's just naked revenge and reprisals, if you like. They have the people in custody who they are their erstwhile enemies, in particular al-Sanusi. He's accused of having committed crimes in a prison in Libya, and many of the members of the militia were prisoners in that prison, so they would be the victims of his crimes. So I think what you have here is basically revenge dressed up as judicial process.
Yeah, we had a couple of lawyers on earlier on today saying if you've got the name Gaddafi, you're kind of damned before you start in any court.
That's certainly true. I found that in relation to, I represent other members of the Gaddafi family, for example, Aisha Gaddafi and others. And I find not just in Libya, but internationally, having the name Gaddafi carries with it an assumption of guilt.
John, thanks for the time. Thanks for being on the programme. John Jones there, lawyer for Gaddafi. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is Liberation Day in Libya. The transitional government is declaring the country free.
You have won a revolution.
Your friends in Britain and in France will stand with you as you build your democracy.
Democracy, a new future for this country.
The great new Libya rising up.
New page for the Libyan people, the start of a process to establish democracy.
Libya is in for a period of horrendous chaos.
It's going to be an ineffective, powerless regime.
It's going to be a war, warring feuds, tribal feuds that is going to go on forever.
the deteriorating situation in Libya.
It's difficult to see a path out of this chaos.
Libya is not managed anymore, not even governed anymore. It is experiencing chaos, and the question is, how is it that after an intervention, which took place more than 3 years ago, there has been no reflection on what should happen after?